I'm 70. I'm avoiding friends and people. Here's why. Hello, friends. Today I want to share something deeply personal, something I believe many of you who've reached your golden years might resonate with. At 70, I've found myself in a phase of life I never quite anticipated, actively avoiding friends and people. It wasn't always this way, and it certainly didn't happen overnight. But with the benefit of hindsight, reflection, and life experience, I've come to realize the reasons behind this shift. And I suspect some of you may have felt this too. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. 1. The weight of time and priorities. Reaching 70 is a milestone that carries with it a profound awareness of time, an awareness that is both a blessing and a burden. At this age, time feels like a dear companion, one who gently reminds us of its fleeting nature. The days no longer stretch out endlessly as they once did in our youth, but instead they seem to whisper, urging us to make the most of each moment. This realization has reshaped the way I view my relationships and daily choices. In my younger years, I gave away my time freely, perhaps too freely, believing there would always be more. I invested in relationships that didn't nourish me, said yes to obligations that drained me, and poured energy into things that, looking back, mattered very little. Now, with decades of experience behind me, I approach life with a different lens. Time has become my most precious currency, and I've grown more discerning about how and where I spend it. At 70, priorities become crystal clear in a way they never did before. It's no longer about pleasing everyone or maintaining connections for the sake of politeness. It's about alignment, about asking myself, does this bring me joy? Does this relationship or activity add value to my life? And when the answer is no, I've learned to let go, even when it's difficult. There's a bittersweet quality to this stage of life. I look back on the years I've lived, not with regret, but with a gentle acknowledgement of the lessons they've taught me. I've come to understand that not every friendship is meant to last a lifetime, and that it's okay to outgrow people or situations. This is not about holding grudges or harboring bitterness. It's about honoring the person I am now and the journey I've walked to get here. The weight of time also brings a sharper focus on what truly matters. The trivialities and dramas that once consumed me have faded into the background. I no longer have the energy or the desire to engage in conflicts or situations that don't serve my peace. Instead, I seek simplicity, quiet moments, and meaningful connections that feel authentic and real. I've come to treasure quality over quantity, whether it's in friendships, experiences, or even the time I spend with myself. What I've learned is that this shift in priorities isn't a sign of becoming jaded or isolated. It's a form of wisdom. It's recognizing that life is too short to be spent in ways that don't nurture the soul. It's embracing the freedom that comes with age, the freedom to say no without guilt, to choose peace over obligation, and to live each day in alignment with what truly matters to me. This understanding has brought me a sense of peace I never knew was possible. By letting go of what no longer serves me, I've made room for what does, whether it's the laughter of my grandchildren, the serenity of a quiet morning, or the simple joy of tending to my garden. The weight of time, while heavy at moments, has also been a gift. It has taught me to live with intention and to cherish the life I've been given. 2. Lessons learned the hard way. Life is an unforgiving teacher, often delivering its most valuable lessons through pain and trial. At 70, I find myself reflecting on the things I wish I had known earlier, insights that could have saved me heartache, wasted time, and unnecessary struggle. Yet, it is precisely through these experiences that I've gained the wisdom I carry today. When I was younger, I believed in the best of people. I thought kindness was always met with kindness, that loyalty guaranteed loyalty, and that good intentions were enough to maintain meaningful relationships. But as life unfolded, I realized that not everyone shares these values. I encountered people who took advantage of my generosity, who prioritized their own gain over the well being of others, and who left scars I didn't see coming. I've learned that trust, while essential, must be earned and not given freely. I've discovered that some relationships are seasonal, meant to teach us something before we move on. This realization was both freeing and painful. It's never easy to let go of people or admit that a connection wasn't what you thought it was. But with time, I've come to understand that holding on to these relationships out of obligation or nostalgia only weighs us down. These lessons also extend to self reflection. I've had to confront my own mistakes, the times I gave too much of myself, ignored red flags, or allowed others to dictate my worth. It's humbling to acknowledge where we've fallen short, but it's also empowering. These hard earned lessons have shaped me into someone who values boundaries, self respect, and the courage to walk away when something no longer serves me. The journey wasn't easy, but it was necessary. Now, when I look back, I no longer see regret, but growth. Every disappointment, every betrayal, and every mistake taught me how to protect my heart, prioritize my peace, and live a life aligned with my values. At 70, I carry these lessons not as burdens, but as tools, helping me navigate this stage of life with clarity and grace. 3. The Beauty of Solitude. There was a time when being alone felt like an ache, a void I sought to fill with noise, activity, and the company of others. But as the years passed, I've come to see solitude not as loneliness, but as a sanctuary, a place where I can truly be myself, free from the expectations and demands of the world. At 70, solitude feels like a gift I didn't know I needed. It's in the quiet moments that I find clarity and peace. A walk in the early morning, with the sun just beginning to rise, feels like a conversation with the universe. Sitting in my garden, watching the wind dance through the trees, reminds me of the beauty that exists in stillness. These moments aren't just pauses in life, they are life. The pandemic, for all its challenges, was a turning point for me. It stripped away the distractions and forced me to sit with myself in ways I hadn't before. I discovered that I didn't need the constant busyness or the validation of others to feel fulfilled. What I needed was to reconnect with myself, to listen to the thoughts and feelings I had long pushed aside. This newfound appreciation for solitude has changed how I view relationships. I no longer feel the pressure to maintain connections that don't bring me joy. I've learned that it's okay to step back, to choose quiet evenings over social gatherings, and to protect my energy from those who bring negativity or drama. This isn't about rejecting people, it's about embracing the peace that comes with intentional living. Solitude has also deepened my sense of gratitude. It's in these quiet moments that I reflect on the life I've lived, the people who've touched my heart, and the lessons I've learned along the way. I've come to cherish the time I spend with myself, knowing that this relationship, the one I have with me, is the foundation for everything else. As I navigate this chapter of life, I find myself drawn more to the beauty of solitude than the noise of the crowd. It's in this space that I feel most alive, most at peace, and most connected to what truly matters. Solitude isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace, a companion that reminds us of the richness within. At 70, I welcome it with open arms, knowing that in the quiet, I find my truest self. 4. The changing nature of friendships. Friendships, like the tides, ebb and flow over the course of a lifetime. At 70, I find myself reflecting on the friendships that have come and gone, those that have stood the test of time, and those that have faded into distant memories. This process of reflection isn't always easy. It carries with it a mix of gratitude, loss, and sometimes bittersweet acceptance. When we're younger, friendships often form out of circumstance. They grow in school hallways, workplace lunchrooms, or neighborhood gatherings. At those stages, friendships are abundant, fueled by shared experiences and the energy of youth. But as we age, life begins to prune our social gardens. Career changes, moves, and life transitions shift the dynamics, and suddenly, the people who once felt indispensable begin to drift away. At 70, I've come to understand that this evolution isn't a failure, it's simply life. Not every friendship is meant to last forever. Some relationships, no matter how deep they once were, have a season and a purpose. They teach us lessons, provide companionship during certain chapters, and then naturally fade as we grow in different directions. This realization, while sometimes painful, has also brought me a sense of peace. Letting go of relationships that no longer align with who I am doesn't diminish their value. It honors the role they played in my journey. However, some friendships do endure, and these are treasures beyond measure. The friends who remain by your side after decades of life's twists and turns are rare gems. These are the people who have witnessed your triumphs and trials, who have seen you at your best and your worst, and who continue to love you just as you are. They are the ones who don't require constant interaction to maintain a bond. The connection is timeless, built on a foundation of mutual respect, trust, and shared history. As I've aged, I've also become more selective about the friendships I choose to nurture. My time and energy are precious, and I've learned to reserve them for relationships that enrich my life. I no longer feel obligated to maintain connections out of guilt or habit. Instead, I focus on relationships that are reciprocal, uplifting, and filled with genuine care. It's a profound relief to know that I can prioritize my peace without apology. Another shift I've noticed is my increased appreciation for simplicity in friendships. It's no longer about grand gestures or frequent meetups. A heartfelt phone call, a shared laugh, or a quiet moment of understanding can mean more than years of superficial interactions. These simple yet profound moments remind me that the essence of friendship isn't found in quantity, but in quality. The changing nature of friendships is a reflection of the life we've lived, a tapestry woven with threads of connection, growth, and change. At 70, I embrace these changes as part of the journey. Each friendship, whether fleeting or enduring, has shaped the person I am today. And while some have faded, the love and lessons they brought remain a part of me. In the end, I find comfort in knowing that true friendship is not about permanence, but about presence, being there for one another in the moments that matter most. 5, trust and vulnerability. Trust is the foundation of every meaningful relationship, yet it's also one of the most fragile. Over the years, I've learned that trust isn't something to be given freely, it must be earned. And at 70, I find myself more cautious than ever about who I allow into my inner circle. This isn't about cynicism or bitterness, it's about the wisdom that comes from experience. I've had my share of disappointments, moments when I placed my trust in the wrong hands only to be let down. Those experiences, while painful, have taught me to value my vulnerability as a gift, not something to be given lightly. The older I get, the more I understand that not everyone deserves access to my heart. There are people who will take advantage of kindness, manipulate trust, or bring unnecessary drama into your life. Recognizing these red flags isn't about being judgmental, it's about protecting your peace. Yet, I also know the importance of keeping the door to trust slightly ajar. While it's natural to be cautious, it's equally important not to let fear of betrayal keep us from experiencing meaningful connections. Building trust takes time, but when it's rooted in mutual respect and understanding, it can be one of the most rewarding aspects of life. Being vulnerable, however, requires courage. It means showing up as your authentic self, even when you're not sure how others will respond. At this stage in life, I've learned to embrace that vulnerability, not recklessly, but intentionally. It's about knowing when to share your heart and with whom. Trust and vulnerability are two sides of the same coin. They require balance and discernment, but they also open the door to deeper, more fulfilling relationships. At 70, I've learned to value this balance. I trust more carefully now, but when I do, it's with the knowledge that the right relationships are worth the risk. And in those moments of genuine connection, I'm reminded that even with all its complexities, trust is one of life's greatest gifts. 6. The importance of self care. At 70, self care has become less about luxury and more about survival, both physical and emotional. It's not just a routine, it's a declaration that my well being matters, that I am worth the effort. This understanding didn't come easily. It was shaped by years of neglecting myself in the name of obligations, relationships, and responsibilities. Now, I realize that self care is not selfish, it's essential. In these later years, self care has taken on a deeper, more intentional form. It's not just about eating nutritious meals or going for daily walks, although those are crucial. It's also about protecting my emotional energy. I've learned to say no to commitments that drain me, to relationships that bring more stress than joy, and to the internal voice that insists I must always be productive. Rest, I've come to understand, is a form of resistance against a world that often glorifies busyness over balance. I've also discovered that self-care is deeply personal. For me, it's in the quiet rituals of the day, the warm cup of tea in the morning, the meditative act of tending my garden, the satisfaction of losing myself in a good book. These small, intentional moments remind me that life's beauty often lies in its simplicity. Beyond the physical and emotional aspects, self-care at this stage of life also means self-compassion. It's about forgiving myself for the mistakes I've made, accepting the limitations of my aging body, and recognizing that I've done the best I could with the tools I had. This inner kindness has been transformative, allowing me to approach each day with a sense of gratitude rather than regret. Self-care isn't just a practice. It's a mindset. It's the understanding that I must prioritize my health and happiness because they form the foundation for everything else in my life. At 70, I've embraced this truth, and it has brought me a sense of peace I didn't know was possible. 7. Navigating the complex emotions. The journey through our later years is often marked by a complex mix of emotions. At 70, I've found myself experiencing joy and grief, gratitude and regret, contentment and longing, all at once. It's a reminder that even in the golden years, life remains as layered and nuanced as ever. One of the most challenging emotions to navigate has been guilt. There's a unique kind of guilt that comes with pulling away from people, even when you know it's the right choice for your well-being. I've felt it when declining invitations, stepping back from toxic relationships, or choosing solitude over socializing. But over time, I've learned to reframe this guilt. Instead of seeing it as a failing, I view it as a sign that I'm prioritizing my needs, a practice that took me decades to master. Another emotion I've wrestled with is loneliness. While I value solitude, there are moments when the absence of companionship feels heavy. Yet, I've come to understand that loneliness isn't a sign that I've made the wrong choices. It's a natural part of life's ebb and flow, a feeling that passes like a cloud if I allow it to. In these moments, I turn to the things that bring me comfort, a cherished memory, a favorite piece of music, or the calming presence of nature. Gratitude has been my anchor through it all. Even on the most challenging days, I remind myself of the blessings in my life, the love I've shared, the lessons I've learned, and the resilience I've built. Gratitude doesn't erase the complexities of life, but it shifts my perspective, allowing me to see beauty even in the midst of struggle. Navigating these emotions requires both patience and grace. I've learned to sit with my feelings, to acknowledge them without judgment, and to let them teach me what they will. Each emotion, whether joyful or painful, has something to offer. Together, they create a rich tapestry that reflects the fullness of life. At 70, I've come to accept that life's complexities are not something to fix, but something to embrace. The mix of emotions is a testament to a life well lived, a journey filled with love, loss, growth, and discovery. It's this complexity that makes life so profoundly human, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. 8. Advice for those feeling the same. If you find yourself in a place where people feel like a source of exhaustion rather than joy, know that you are not alone. At 70, I've come to understand that pulling back from social connections isn't a sign of failure or bitterness. It's a natural part of growing older and wiser. The life we've lived, with all its ups and downs, has taught us the value of protecting our energy and prioritizing peace. One of the greatest lessons I've learned is to trust my instincts. If a relationship feels one-sided, draining, or filled with unnecessary drama, it's okay to step back. In our younger years, we often stayed in relationships out of obligation or fear of hurting others. But at this stage in life, our well-being must come first. Walking away doesn't mean we don't care. It means we care enough about ourselves to set boundaries. It's also important to embrace solitude without guilt. Society often pushes the narrative that a full life is one brimming with social engagements, but that's not true for everyone. For many of us, joy can be found in quiet moments, a serene walk, the pages of a good book, or simply sitting in the stillness of a sunrise. Solitude can be a source of strength and renewal, a time to reconnect with yourself and reflect on the life you've built. Above all, I encourage you to focus on the relationships that uplift and support you. Quality far outweighs quantity when it comes to connection. A heartfelt conversation with someone who truly understands you is worth more than a room full of superficial acquaintances. Invest in those who bring joy, and don't feel obligated to maintain connections out of a sense of duty. You've earned the right to choose peace and fulfillment. Remember, this stage of life is about honoring yourself. It's about making choices that align with your values, your energy, and your happiness. Let go of what no longer serves you, and don't be afraid to embrace the quiet moments. They're where the deepest clarity often lies. 9. A new chapter. At 70, life feels like a book that's far from finished. The pages before may be filled with vibrant highs, heartbreaking lows, and countless lessons, but this chapter, the one we're living now, is unique. It's quieter, perhaps, but it's also more reflective, more intentional, and, in many ways, more meaningful. This chapter isn't about rushing or proving ourselves to anyone. It's about savoring what we've built, cherishing the connections that remain, and embracing the wisdom that comes with age. For me, this has meant letting go of the need to please others or keep up appearances. It's meant stepping back from relationships and commitments that no longer bring joy and allowing myself to simply be. But this chapter isn't one of isolation. It's one of authenticity. The people I allow into my life now are the ones who truly matter, those who respect the person I've become. And the moments I cherish most are the ones where I feel most myself, whether that's in the laughter of a grandchild, the warmth of a loved one's embrace, or the quiet beauty of a sunrise. Starting this new chapter has also been about redefining what fulfillment looks like. It's no longer tied to ambition or achievements. Instead, it's found in the simple joys of everyday life, the sound of birds in the morning, the feeling of a cool breeze on my face, or the comfort of a well-worn chair. These moments, while small, are profound in their ability to ground me in the present and remind me of the richness of life. This chapter is not an ending. It's a continuation, a chance to live with purpose and gratitude. It's a reminder that life's beauty doesn't fade with age. It transforms. At 70, I've found a deep sense of peace in this transformation, and I look forward to filling these pages with moments that truly matter. A deeply reflective conclusion. At 70, life feels both simpler and more profound. The noise of younger years, the relentless striving, the endless social obligations, the fear of missing out has quieted, leaving behind a clarity that can only come with age. I see now that the life we've lived isn't measured by the number of people we've known or the accolades we've achieved, but by the quality of our moments, the depth of our connections, and the peace we find within ourselves. This stage of life is about embracing what remains after time has stripped away the superficial. It's about cherishing the relationships that truly matter while letting go of those that no longer align with who we are. It's about finding joy in solitude, not as a retreat from the world, but as a space to reflect, to grow, and to simply be. And it's about honoring ourselves, our time, our energy, and the wisdom we've earned through decades of living. I've come to see that aging is not a loss, but a gift. It offers us the chance to live more authentically, to strip away pretense, and to focus on what truly matters. It's a time to appreciate the journey we've traveled, to forgive ourselves for the missteps, and to take pride in the resilience that has carried us this far. It's a time to create a legacy, not in the grand sense of fame or fortune, but in the small, meaningful ways we touch the lives of those we care about. As I look ahead to the years still to come, I feel a deep sense of gratitude for the lessons I've learned, the love I've experienced, and even the losses that have shaped me. I know now that life's beauty lies not in its perfection, but in its complexity, in the moments of joy, the stretches of sorrow, and the profound growth that bridges the two. To those walking this same path, know that you are not alone. Life at 70 is a chapter rich with meaning, if we allow ourselves to see it. It's a time to celebrate not just what we've accomplished, but who we've become. And it's a reminder that even as the years pass, there is always room for new joys, new connections, and new beginnings. Let us step into this chapter with grace, wisdom, and the quiet confidence that comes from a life well lived. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.